Hi, I'm Leslie Lowe. Welcome to Leslie's Lowdown on Life. All right, today we're going to talk about follicle unit extraction, i.e. hair transplant. And I'm so excited that you're here. This is my friend Matt Fleming. And what's so great is that you just went through this whole process.
Just got done with it.
A few weeks ago?
Today is day 17 post-op. So yeah, 2 weeks ago, I went through the whole process of getting a follicle unit extraction, so an FUE hair transplant.
So I love that you're willing to talk about it because it's a huge topic right now. 85% of men and 33% of women will experience hair loss in their lifetime. Then, of course, the older we get, then the more we experience that hair loss.
Yeah.
And over the years, there's been so many different products, hair growth products, shampoos. Now there's all kinds of supplements that we can take. And then really what's kind of come to the forefront is hair transplants. So I want to talk about your process because it is a process.
Yeah. And, for me, my dad was bald, and I kind of felt like, and even my mom's dad had lost his hair. And I kind of thought, okay, this is going to be my path. And I turned 50 this year. So I was thinking, okay, my hair is thinning out. And about 45, my hair really started getting thin. And there's only so much you can do with styling. And I was doing all the shampoos and I was doing the topical Rogaine, the topical minoxidil.
Right.
And I wasn't even aware that there was oral medication you could take prescribed by your doctor to help grow your hair. There's two different types. There's one that will help strengthen the hair follicle, which would be the minoxidil orally. And then there's I always say them wrong, so forgive me if I'm pronouncing like Foresterine and Duresterine or something, or Durestride. And those two actually grow hair from the follicle.
So those are supplements. Are those
Those
ones?
are pills.
Those are
prescription pills from my doctor.
Okay, so that's a prescription strength.
Yes.
And now on the market are so many
other things
over the counter.
Yeah. But really, if you are experiencing hair loss, you should get on a prescription strength hair loss medication from your doc. Or like I didn't get it from my doctor, my physician. I called this clinic. And so, I can back up a little bit. So I called the clinic about a year ago. So anyway, I was experiencing this hair, kind of like not really talking about it. I feel like no one really talks about it.
Yeah.
I was styling it, my hair as best I could. And I had like a 15-step process to make sure my hair didn't look thin. And then actually it was one of my husband's one of his best friends went to Turkey and had a hair transplant. And he came back and he was sharing that experience with Casey. And I thought, that's incredible. Like I was in shock and I thought, I didn't even know this was a real thing. Like I had heard about it a little bit, but I had also kind of had this bias around plugs. Like I thought, I don't want to look like I had hair plugs.
Right. What's the difference between hair?
I don't even know if I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just knew that they didn't look good. I had a physician that I went to years and years ago who got hair plugs, and all you did was stare at his hair plugs the whole time. That's all I did. I thought,
you don't want it to be obvious.
Correct. Yeah. And so when this friend of Casey's, Christian, had his hair transplant, he just had this incredible result, and I was just in awe of it. And watching it over that next year kind of come in and fill in and go from balder than I was to this gorgeous, thick, full head of hair, I thought, this is incredible. But I didn't want to go to Turkey. Right. So then one of my employees I was kind of talking about it at work, and one of my employees said that her really good friend just had a hair transplant in Seattle at the Root Hair Institute, which is where I ended up going. And that he had this incredible result, and that he was also very bald. And I immediately called the Root Hair Institute, and this was about a year ago now. It was in September of last year, and I made an appointment. And at that appointment, the doctor, he was like, I need to get you on some oral prescription meds for this. Let's get you on it. Let's strengthen your hair follicles. Let's I'll talk about the process of how they do it, but we got to get the donor area strong for the harvesting of those hair follicles so that when it happens, you're ready. And so I did it. I started those oral meds about a year prior to even having the hair transplant.
So this is a whole,
And for me, it was a
it's a
full year.
full
It
process.
was about a year process.
So we should talk about a couple of the different, I mean, there are different reasons why people experience hair loss, whether it be hereditary. That's, I think, the big one. And they always say that boys get the hairline of their mother's father.
Right.
And if I read that correctly.
That's what they say.
And then there's also like hormonal hair loss.
That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
So at about 45-ish years old, I noticed a big drop into my energy level and a lot of things. I mean, I think you've talked about this on this podcast before. I was like, okay, my testosterone has to be completely out of whack. And it was. I was in the toilet with my testosterone level. So I got on a TRT, a testosterone replacement therapy. And one of the side effects of that is hair loss.
So I think that there's like always been stigma around certain things, and that would be hormones.
Yes.
It would be hair loss, all the things that in the past we've tended to, shy away from talking about. And what I love now is that we're in a place that we can talk about these things. There is no shame in it. And we should be talking about these things so that we can support each other and know that there are things out there that can make such a huge difference.
Huge difference. And I'm kind of an open book anyway.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize when I went on that testosterone replacement therapy was that hormone that, is so great for us guys, that gives us the energy and helps us build muscle and helps us with workouts. It also attacks hair loss. But what I didn't realize is, that DHT, I think it is, the DHT hormone that affects those follicles on the top of your head. They don't affect the follicles around the side of your head.
Interesting.
So that's where this technology really came from. And I don't know if it came out of Turkey, but that's where they had the reputation for it, right? This hair transplant is if they transplant the hair follicles from the side of your head to the top of your head, those follicles will never be affected by that hormone that affects male pattern baldness. That's the science behind it. I don't know how it works, but it's incredible.
That is fascinating.
I know. And and the only reason I was blown away by it, because I saw Living Proof with Christian. And then I heard from my employee who's like, oh my gosh, it's incredible what they do. I didn't want to fly to Turkey. I just didn't have any interest in that. I don't know why. I don't know, with my job, I just thought I really can't be gone that long. And I wanted to be able to be closer to my doctor. I live in Spokane, and I didn't really do any research around Spokane. There might be places here that do this. But since my employee's friend had such a great result with this doctor, I thought I'm going to give this a shot. And I really didn't look anywhere else. It was as soon as I met this doctor, Dr. Rupani, I just fell in love with him. And I thought, no, this is my guy. When you have that immediate trust,
Yeah.
And he was so reassuring. And what was interesting on our first consult, it was via Zoom. I had to send pictures of my head, all these different angles. And I was really concerned about my donor area because I don't really have thick hair. And I thought, I don't want to, what they call over harvest. I don't want them to take so many follicles, because once they take them, they're gone.
That's my question is, okay, once they take them out, they don't grow back
They don't grow back ever.
Okay.
So they can't, if they over harvest you could have a botched hair transplant really quickly and get patches around your side of your head. I was really nervous about that because I didn't have a really thick donor area, so to speak. So he looked at my picture and he goes, I think I could do, 1,200 or 2,000 follicles and move them. And I said, okay, great. And, he's like, when do you want to do this? And I'm like, honestly, with my schedule, probably next August is probably a great time, which is when I scheduled it, put some money down. And then I made an appointment to go see him in person. And when I went to go see him in person in May, he got a really good chance to look at my scalp. And he's like, oh no, you have better donor area than I thought. And it might have been because I was on those meds for so long, the minoxidil and the Durestride. I don't know how to say it. But he's like, your donor area is great. I can get at least 3,300 follicles from your donor area. And so then I agreed to do that.
3,300 follicles. So that's individual
hair follicles
that they take out one by one.
Harvested one by one.
Okay. Now
and then implant them into my head.
All right. Take us through the process, because this was a process.
Oh, yeah. And it was a 2-day process.
Right.
It was 2 full 8-hour days over in Seattle, Bellevue, rather, at the Root Hair Institute. And I made one of my best girlfriends, Jessica, go with me, who's a nurse. And I said, you're going to come with me because we had to stay at a hotel, right? And I didn't know what to expect really, and they don't really give you any, like there's no oral pain meds they give you for it. Like it's all like topical. Well, it's local anesthesia. So, they do inject. And that was, okay. So I wasn't prepared for what I was going to experience. I will tell you that. And it wasn't that bad. I'm being a little dramatic. So just forgive me for that. It wasn't as bad but it was more than I thought it was going to be. So the day was broken into 2 parts. In the morning, we harvested. And in the afternoon, they implanted the harvested follicles. And first thing he did is he took all these before pictures, and then he shaved my head bald. And then he drew all over my head, and he drew like 8 sections around here, around the donor area. He divided it in 8, and then he divided the top of my head into 3 sections. And we prioritized with each other where he wanted the follicles to go. So he's like, well, okay, how do you style your hair? And I go, well, I kind of comb it over like this. And he goes, okay, well, I'm going to put more follicles here because then it will be thicker as you comb it over. It will appear thicker than over here. And he goes, what bothers you the most about your head? And I said, well, that it's thin here. And he goes, okay, well, we're going to go thicker here. And he has this art of placing like 1 hair follicles, 2 hair follicles, 3 hair follicles. Where he places those is kind of his magic and how he makes it look so natural and so good.
He's an artist.
Yeah. He's amazing. And I think that's what you pay for, honestly. And I will tell you, Christian, incredible result in Turkey. So I think if you do your research, you can find great places, other areas. But for me, I was like, I wanted to know in my gut. I always listen to my gut, and I just felt like this was right. People want to know how much it is, right? Like what are you going to look at paying for a hair transplant? And I'm pausing you on the process to tell you this, but like I would say in Turkey, I think Christian paid around $6,000 for his. I think he had more follicles transferred than I did. It kind of comes down to you pay how many follicles you get transferred.
Okay.
So if you get a lot more, if you get 6,000 follicles transferred, you're going to pay a lot more than I did at 3,300. Or if you get 2,000, you're going to pay a lot less. So in the States, in Seattle, you're going to pay at least double to 3 times that amount. So you got to weigh that, what you want to do and if you can afford it.
But you're also not having to pay the travel.
Correct.
So there's a little bit of a balance.
There is a little bit. I think with Christian, I think his was included in that $6,000, his travel and his hotel and everything. But I don't know. Everywhere's different. Mm-hmm. I hear, the most expensive hair transplant's like $50,000 and, you could get real cheap, like $5,000. So you get what you pay for sometimes, but I also think you got to be careful that you don't pay too much.
Do your research.
Do your research. Do a little bit of research. I didn't do as much as I probably should have because I kind of just found where I wanted to go. But I think people should do their research. And if you can do the Turkey travel, do it. But it made me nervous. And honest to God, after the 2-day procedure and just driving home to my house and crawling into my bed, I couldn't have imagined getting on a plane 4 days later or 5 days later and flying home feeling the way I did. So I'll get there. But that was my choice to go to Bellevue. So anyway.
Closer to home. So let's go back to
Let's go
to 2-day process.
Yes.
So first day, first half of the day, they're extracting follicles. Second half of the day, they're implanting
them.
Those, and does it hurt?
Yeah. So, it's funny. My doctor said to me, he goes, because I was worried about that. I said, what's it going to, he's like, my patients aren't uncomfortable. He goes, it's not like you're going to the spa, but they're not uncomfortable. And I thought, well, I'm kind of uncomfortable. I was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, when the first 4 sections, they numb each section and the shots to numb them, there's like about, I want to say 12 to 20 shots in each section to numb them. And it's just like shot, 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 shot. That was probably the most painful part of it. And then there's this little device where they drill out around the follicle. It's like, it sounds like zzz, zzz, zzz. That's just was in my head like the whole time. Zzz, zzz, zzz. So this doctor's not my doctor, but a PA that he has working with him was drilling all these follicles out. I'm laying on my stomach with my head like in the massage face cradle. And then someone's going behind him with tweezers and pulling each one of those follicles out. And then that person is putting them on a tray. And then they're taking that tray over to a row of people that are sitting on a counter who are looking at each follicle under a microscope. And they're determining whether those follicles are healthy or not to transplant. And some of them, they lose about 10% of those follicles. So then they divide those follicles, and I'm going to send you guys some pictures of this, into little like bowls. And one bowl is follicle one bowl is follicle, like 2 follicles, 2 hair follicles, one bowl's 3 hair follicles. And then that's how the doctor then decides when he's going to place them, where he pulls from. So that process of extraction lasts about 3 hours. And, you're just like laying there listening to music, and I'm talking to the team, and I'm trying, just trying to be comfortable.
Right.
But it's not comfortable.
Right.
And then before lunch, he makes all the incisions of where he wants the follicles to go. And there's this big whiteboard in the room, and they're like graphing out how many they took for each section, and they're keeping count, and they're counting them. And so then when he makes all those incisions, there's someone next to him clicking a clicker. So every time he makes an incision on my scalp, someone's clicking a clicker, click, 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 click. So before lunch, he makes, I think the first day it was like 1,200 incisions on my scalp, just right in this area. And then they give me a shot of something to help me control the bleeding. They kind of wrap me up, and then I eat lunch. So I'm sitting in this room with this bloody head, like I look a hot mess, eating a sandwich from Panera. Like, going, what am I doing? What is happening?
And what kind of sandwich do you want?
Yeah, I know. You have to decide at like 6 a.m. I don't know. It was like bizarre feeling. Like I was by myself in this room eating lunch. Like, I mean, I was watching some TV, I think, but it was just out of body experience. So then the team comes back in, and and then I'm laying kind of flat. And I will say they do give me Valium. I did tell them.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm like, can you up the Valium? Like, I don't feel like you realize how big I am. Like, I need like double what you're giving.
Help me out here.
Help me out here, because I need to have this edge took off. So he did. He was great. He gave me enough Valium to where I was restful. I actually think I fell asleep during this process when they were putting the follicles in. It's very long and tedious because they individually place each follicle in each of those little tiny itty bitty incisions. And then they do that for 3 hours. And then they say, okay, that's enough for today. And then I went back to the hotel room, and then literally, you got to sleep upright. You got to do this whole thing. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have to go back for another day of it.
Yeah, you were saying that you weren't looking forward to that second day because you knew how, you'd been through it.
I was like, okay, here we go. One more day of this. At least I knew what to expect. When you have to tell yourself, okay, I never have to do that again. That's kind of what I got through that second day. Like every time we got through a portion, I knew what to expect at least. But I thought, okay, I never have to do that again. I never have to go through the extraction again. I never have to go through the incisions again. I never have to go through. And it wasn't that bad. It was just long.
Right. And did you think about Christian's head and go, okay, I'm going to be there?
Yes, I totally
it's those
did.
mental games that we have to play with ourselves. Or, sometimes it's like, just to get through a process.
Totally.
Yeah.
And and you kind of forget the end game because, you're sitting there with a shaved head of hair, and, your hair you don't look good. Like, it doesn't look good.
Oh, honey, you always look good.
Oh, well, honey, I really felt like it was more, I kept on thinking about what Christian went through, and thank God I knew someone who had done it, because I think I would have been a little more traumatized by the process. It's just a weird process.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know until you know.
Right.
Until you're in it. Okay,
Right.
so you go through the process again for the second day.
Yes.
And then they wrap your head, they send you on your way.
Yeah. And they say, come back the next day. So this was a Monday and Tuesday for the surgery or the procedure. And then they go, okay, go home or go to the hotel, come back the next morning for your first hair wash. And then you can go home. And then you can drive home. Right.
So how bad did that hurt?
It hurt. But it was okay. I mean, the girl was so sweet to me and just was gentle with it. And they're not,
Right,
washing your head
right.
because they're basically, it's like fresh sod of, like you have to be so careful with it. And I remember him telling me at the end, he's like, okay, now when you go into a car, put your hand on the door because that's where the number one place people screw up their hair transplants is they hit their head on the car door going in and out of I mean, think about how many times you hit your head.
Right.
You probably don't think about it because it just happens sometimes. Well, so I was like, oh my gosh, like put my head in a bubble. I don't want to mess. It was too expensive. I don't want to hurt these babies that just got planted. And so they just kind of run water and she was really rubbing where it hurt was the donor area. And when she was doing the wash, she was really rubbing that off and getting those scabs off there. She wasn't really touching up here where the grafts got placed.
Right.
So we did that, and then I went home, and then it started the long road to where I am today.
Yeah, because
the long road to recovery.
Once you got home, I mean, you didn't really leave the house for a few days.
Tried not to. I did end up going to work on Friday, which was a mistake because then I swole. And I wasn't expecting the swelling.
The swelling.
Yeah. And the swelling all settled right in my eyes. Like right here, there was a moment when I felt like I couldn't open my eyes because it was so heavy. Like, have you ever gotten like too much Botox and your eyebrows are so heavy? Like, it felt like that times 10. Like, I thought, oh my God, I can't. So and then I just was like, Matt, you learned a lesson. You pushed it too much. Stop it. So what I ended up doing, when I'm not a good person to just sit, like I don't like to sit around, but I had to just protect my head, watch TV, ice it. Those little like gel ice packs were my savior. And it wasn't up here that hurt. It was all the donor area.
All the donor areas.
And that was a part that I wasn't really prepared for on what that would feel like. And my doctor prepared me. I mean, he was wonderful. And he said, every patient has a different journey. Some patients have no pain. Some patients have a lot of pain. I just happened to be kind of in the middle where I got a lot of nerve pain from it. And then, of course, I was, my support group was like TikTok. Like I would Google every day, hair transplant, post-op day 1 on my day 1 or post-op day 2. And then I'd watch all these videos of guys that went through and they were on day 2, like me, day 3, day 4. Like,
yeah.
And I did it this morning.
I'm glad
17.
you brought that up because I was going to ask you because we had talked about that and how social media played such a big role in being that support to get through this process.
Yeah.
We talk about social media so many times being on the bad side. This is one of those opportunities where it was so helpful.
It was incredibly helpful because I would watch guys that were having more swelling than me because you're in a bubble. You're by yourself in your home and you're like, and I don't know anyone but Christian who's had it done. So I'm texting Christian every day, sending him pictures like, do I look okay? And, and he's like, oh, you're perfect. Like, you look great. Like, you need that support for sure to get through it. But TikTok was surprisingly a big help for me. I wish, though, the thing I didn't like is sometimes the guys on TikTok that would have it done were like, oh, I have no problem. It's nothing. No problem. Like, no pain. No. I'm thinking, am I the biggest baby in the world? Like, why am I having such a hard time with some of this pain around my head? And like, I'm uncomfortable and no one's talking about that as much, which I thought was interesting.
I think that's important too, to even bring that up because like you said a second ago, everybody's pain tolerance is different. And then I think sometimes on social media, we just show the, good side of everything. It's not always the happy, good side to get to the end result that you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely had seen that part prior to my hair transplant. I had definitely watched all the TikToks of people who had the great result, which I will have a great result. There's no doubt in my mind. But kind of how to get there. And I've had other plastic surgery in my life. I've had a nose job. I got liposuction once. Like I've had other procedures. And when you get those procedures, like it's instant almost. I mean, yeah, the nose, I was bruised and all that, but pretty much it was instant. Like I could see the result right away. And even with the liposuction, I could see that, oh, my love handles were gone like almost right away. This is not that kind of cosmetic surgery. This is like, okay, Matt, I have it done. They shave my head. And then there's all these stages you have to go through that I am having to go, I'm going to have to go through now before my hair will start to grow as it will in about month 6, 7, 8. It will start to grow in thick. It will start to look like it's going to look. By month 12, a year from now, I will have allegedly a great head of hair.
So this is one of those procedures. It really does require patience.
Yeah.
It does require patience because it does take time. I mean, anytime you're even just trying to grow your hair out, it takes patience to get to that step. And you've just gone through this whole process of extraction and implanting. And so, of course, it's going to take some time. So now moving forward, there are a couple of different questions I want to ask you because you're just so great about being open, and that's so helpful to people.
Good.
And I do love, too, that we're able to have these conversations now. And I really want people to know that if you want to do this, then do it. Look into it. If you can afford to do it, if you can budget for it, it's out there. And that's what I love so much.
And there are financing options for people. Like there was, and to tell you the truth, like I paid for half of it and financed half of it.
And that's amazing to me. And if you don't want to do it, if that's something you don't believe in, that's, great too. I just think that to have that opportunity to talk about all the different options that are out there and that it's okay not only to get them, but to talk about them. And so I think you really help people when you talk about these processes.
I think so. And it helps me to hear it from people. And there's a lot of options, and they can do it for women too. Mm-hmm. Like that's what's so crazy. And I have some dear friends who are experiencing hair loss. And I think as a woman, that would be one of the absolutely hardest things to go through. And I've seen it, and luckily we have hair extensions and we have things that can help that. But this is a real answer for women too. And I really feel like, and they don't have to shave your head, by the way. It's better. It's easier for them if they shave your head. But for like women, they can just go under here and take hair from back here where it's not affected by the hormone and then transplant them where they need to up here. There's also, I got the FUE, but there's also a procedure where they actually cut a strip off here and then they can harvest 100% of that strip.
Wow.
So they do that oftentimes for women as well. I didn't do that because I didn't have enough donor area to do that. But there's lots of options for people.
And it's a game changer.
Game changer.
It really is a game changer.
Yeah.
What would you tell people who are watching this and they're thinking, I hate my hair loss. I don't want to talk about it. I wear a ball cap all the time. Yeah. Or for females who are trying to figure out different ways to cover it up. And I've had several friends too who have experienced the hair loss. And it's hard and it can be shameful. What would you tell those people?
I would say just get a consult. Just call. Nothing, what does an appointment hurt? And I don't get paid by anybody to sell anything, but I'm just saying, like, I would tell my best friend, if you were struggling, I would say, Leslie, just call them. Like, what does it hurt? And, they're in Seattle. Like, they don't know you. I mean, if you're worried about your privacy, it's, they can have a conversation remotely via Zoom. You can send pictures. I don't remember if it cost me anything. I don't think it did to even have that consultation. And then that's when I really was like, no, this is a real option for me. And then I had made it so far out in advance that I could save for it. It wasn't like I made it and went 2 weeks later and went and had it done. It was a year that I planned for it. I got on those oral meds. I prepared my scalp. I saved for it. And then I had it done.
And you're glad.
I'm super glad I had it done. Now, especially I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Now, will I do it again? Because there are some people that do too. Like they go back and get another, like a touch up. I don't know. I doubt it because I think I'm going to have a good result from this one. I literally just had my 2-week follow-up with my doctor this morning. And, I was talking to him about all sorts of things like working out. And I just started working out last night. I went to my trainer last night and had my first workout. And I had all sorts of questions. When can I get my first haircut? When can I do all sorts of things? And he basically told me all but tanning. He goes, don't go into a tanning bed. Don't get some UV on that skin. He goes, everything else, do it. Pretend you didn't have a hair transplant. Get haircuts, work out hard, do your cardio.
Get back to life.
Get back to life. You're fine. Ignore it. He's like, what do you have concerns? I go, well, I feel like I'm balding like more here. Like just right on the very top of my scalp looks bald to me. And I know he put a ton of hair like right up here in front. And he said, well, that's very common. He goes, all the blood is moving to the front of your scalp where it's healing those traumas, those incisions. He goes, that's called shock loss. He goes, your hair won't grow there for a while. He goes, be patient. It will come back. Those follicles are still there. So it's just weird stuff like that. And I'm just starting what they call the shedding phase or the ugly duckling phase. And I mean, you can kind of tell like it looks sparse. It looked thicker in some of the pictures I'll send you right after the hair transplant. You can see like especially that first week, it looked great. It was like a really nice buzz cut. And now I'm starting to get a little spotty and every day I wash my hair and I'm looking down at all these little hairs on my hands.
Does it make you panic?
Yeah. I think, oh my God, all my babies are falling out. Oh my God. And then I have to remind myself that this is the shedding phase. And so for the next month I will shed all those hair shafts, not the follicles. The doctor reminded me, he goes, you're not losing follicles. You're just losing the hair shafts that they were traumatized with that, that move, that trauma. And he goes, those follicles are great, but they'll go into a little hibernation. They're going to get strong, and then you're going to grow really thick, great hair. It just takes a while.
Yeah.
So
patience.
Oh my God. And I have no patience. I have none.
You're like me. Yeah. Instant gratification.
I am over it. So I just have to kind of ignore the fact that I have this crew cut and wear a hat when I want, if I want.
You're a beautiful man, so you're doing just fine.
I'll be okay.
My friend. Yeah, you will be. And like my mom always used to say, it gets worse before it gets better. Right?
That is the tagline of this hair transplant. It gets worse before it gets better. Oh my gosh. But it will get better.
But it will get better. And you're going to come back in a year.
I think I should come back in a year.
I think you should. And
because then I will be on the other side of it.
Yes.
Maybe I'll lose 10 pounds too, so I just look better.
Okay, I'll lose 10 pounds too.
Oh yeah, right. You better
we'll make
not.
A race.
I'll be so mad at you.
Matt, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for letting me share this.
Oh, this is amazing. You're going to help so many people, and I know that there are a lot of questions about it right now. It's huge, and how far we've come, I love. I love that.
I wish I could answer people's questions to it. I'm open to that, happy to do whatever I can.
Well, you know what? If you have questions, leave them here in the comments, and then we'll have Matt answer those for you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Okay, awesome. Matt, thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you, my friend.
Okay.